You don't care about equalizing hard, laborious jobs outside. You don't want to equalize that. You don't care about what happens to people that are falsely accused, which is almost always exclusively men. You don't actually care about the declining school performance, the rise in ADHD diagnosis, and the medication, the psychiatric medication that comes from it. You don't care about the lack of homeless shelters for men. You don't care about the weaponization of the family court, the equal custodial rights, reproductive safe for men, reduction in child support and alimony, pathologizing of just men and masculinity in general, negative attitudes towards um, uh, even men that want a nuclear family. You don't think or care about any of these things. And I'm not even saying it's just the feminists that don't care about it.
Nobody
I'm
does.
saying
Okay.
most people who don't do what I do don't care about this at all.
And ever since then, he's just been bouncing all over the place, just doing different podcasts, and it's crazy impressive. Now, I must say, Jeff St. James did reach out to me on Instagram, and we had a back and forth conversation about him coming on the podcast. The only problem is, I'm not really a podcast anymore, guys. I'm more of a reaction channel. Maybe I'll make an exception to the rule. Let me know in the comments below if that's something y'all would like to see. Let's get right into the clip.
I did want to address something you said earlier about equality, and um, my position is we're more alike than we are different.
I don't know
Now,
about that.
Biologically, our bodies are definitely different. Socially, we're basically the same.
It's actually not true, and it actually starts pretty early on. Like, I seen a study where they were observing kids playing at the playground. Now, if I do that, I'm not allowed within 100 yards of a Chuck E. Cheese, but if they do it, I guess it's considered a study. And what they noticed is that the girls would always get into groups and play games that are more egalitarian. So they'll do dolls, they'll do house, they'll do things along that line. While boys, they always got into hierarchies, they always got into structures, they divided each other up, and they always competed with each other to see who was the strongest type of thing. Girls tend to go towards the activities that are we are all equal, and the boys tended to go towards the activities that had hierarchy and competition.
Okay, yeah, for sure. But I think a lot of women are asking just for equity, not necessarily equality. Like, we don't necessarily want to be equal to you, but we definitely want the environment to be equitable.
Yeah, so you want to take on less responsibility, but then get to split the pie with the guy that has to take on more responsibility. And you also want to equal say while also not taking on equal responsibility. That's what that sounds like to me.
We want to be able to have the same opportunities to just function the way we function. Um,
Can you
I'm
give me an
much
example? Just
What
so
does
I
that
know
mean?
that I'm on the same
What does
page.
that
Can you
mean?
give me an example?
So I'm much different than the average woman. The average woman does not own a garage full of power tools. The average woman just doesn't do, like, I like getting dirty and doing what I do. Um, and I know that I can't do
Average
the
lonely woman
same.
does.
Say what?
The average lonely woman has a garage full of power tools. Trust me.
No, they don't. No, they don't, Darwin.
They gotta get down
No,
there
they
and
don't.
fix that shit they sell.
No, they don't, because my friends call me to do all of their work. They do not do that. The average woman does not have a garage full. The average single woman does not have a garage full of power tools. They have a Rolodex full of people that they can call to do the work that they need done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just to say that they don't need no man. And I be seeing all these studies that say that single women are buying more houses than ever. And I just want to see what happens to the foreclosure in the next 20 years because it's as expensive to own a house. And if you can't do basic manual labor, you're going to be paying a lot of money just to do basic maintenance on your house. So yeah, I agree with her. I don't think most single women have tools just sitting around. I think they use men as tools in order to get the stuff they need done. And ironically enough, some of these types of women will genuinely think that women don't need men.
It's
And
messing
they pay those people for sure. But
Very
and I know
expensive.
that I am not able to do the things the way a man can do it because we are different. But the opportunity to show up and have the opportunity to do the things that I do want to do and like to do and I am able to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like in my relationship, I don't want to be looked at differently, as if I'm masculine just because I'm building a greenhouse in my backyard. A lot of men are put off by that, right? Like, I want to be seen just as a person who has a lot of talents. Like,
Okay.
I'm talented, right? And so I don't want to be looked at differently because of that. Because a lot of men have a very rigid view of what a woman is supposed to be. So when I take out my power tools and I'm taking raw materials and I make it something, I don't want a man to be like, I don't want to do all that. There's real manly right there. And I'm like,
Mhm.
but I got I got booty shorts and a sports bra and I'm cute doing it.
Like
You know
when
what I'm
women do this, I think that they're just talking about the one guy that they wanted that didn't want them for one particular reason. Because I couldn't imagine that being a job for most guys. I think most guys like women who have hobbies, and I'm pretty sure she knows a man that would be okay with that. She just doesn't want that man. She's not attracted to that man. So she got some man somewhere that she knows would accept her exactly how she is. She just don't want that man. She's talking about and referencing the one guy that she might have had that seen her activity as masculine and he decided he didn't want to be with her, which is fair, but I think most guys are actually okay with that.
like? I'm
Mhm.
very feminine. I just do what I do. And I think we're just asking for equity and just to be seen as people, just like y'all like to be seen as people and not these dainty, feminine, like helpless creatures.
All right. Thank you for that. I have 2 or 3 points I think that could be very helpful with this. Number one, you and Bo, you and Jasmine, are y'all outside of you two being equal in terms of being human beings, like in terms of value? Are you two equal? No, right? So if you're not equal with another woman, then you're
Damn.
not equal with another man. And I'm not equal with Darwin outside of the fact that our equality starts and stops, believe it or not, with our humanity. All other distinctions, our gender, our age, our experience, our skill set, there's reasons for why uh, one person will get the job, another person will get the job. In 2025, there is nothing that you can't do in terms of employment, right? Even in terms of intense fields, physical labor fields, they'll lower the standards now for women so that they can't do it. So if you want to be a firefighter, you don't have to have the same standard that a male firefighter has to do.
And it should
If
be
you
that
want to be
way.
in the military, your mile won't be the mile of your male counterpart. You want to be a police officer, you name it, field after field after field, by default, because you're in America.
Yeah,
As
I genuinely believe that if roller coasters can have strict requirements for height, then our public safety, we should be allowed to have strict requirements. There's almost no women that are in a position of public safety that couldn't be replaced by a man that would probably do a better job at that. I always thought that it was crazy that we were willing to put people's lives at risk in order just to make women feel equal to men, even though we know for a fact biologically that's just not the case.
then you can already go and do that. The issue for all women, and I'll say this specifically to black women, is yes, you're right. You probably had experiences where there were some men that were turned off because you had a certain type of job. A lot of men, I can't speak for your personal experience, but a lot of men are not actually turned off by the job or even the type of job. They're turned off by the traits that are often associated with those women. The behavioral traits that sometimes comes with women that has very demanding schedules, demanding jobs, demanding fields, is that they're highly disagreeable, that they are a little rough around the edges. They assume because I look good that I'm still feminine. Because I get my nails done, I'm still feminine. Because my hair and I got my makeup on, I still let a man lead. Well, I always look at it through the lens, does your outcomes reflect the thing that you're saying that you're doing? So an example of what I'm basically saying is when I talk to women who are struggling in the dating market, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that," but I'm saying, but if all the men, your outcomes would typically be different. If I'll say it this way, because you kind of mentioned something in terms of you want to be perceived a certain way from men, right? You want them to still see you as soft, as still feminine, or yeah, in essence, right? And that You don't want what you do to impact how people see you. If we flip it, and this is where I think both sexes can get a better understanding of this stuff. When you all question what it is about men being turned on and turned off about stuff, what's your icks? What's your things that makes it known? I can't do this guy. I
Right.
absolutely can't take him seriously. I'm not going to return his phone call. That's not my type. Whatever that list of things is that attracts you or turns you away, we have our own version of that.
Exactly.
And
yep.
again, no one has to teach us that.
Well, so, but my point is
Mhm.
that there is a very rigid view of what a woman is. And so I get
No,
it.
there isn't.
I promise I do.
There's
And I-
literally a debate right now where you ask people what a woman is and they'll just tell you they don't even know. It's because the roles for women have been lost throughout time, because most of the roles for women require nurturing because it has to do with child rearing. And because we took away that aspect of what it means to be a part of womanhood, hell, a man could just put on a wig and call himself a woman at this point. There's almost no rules for what is considered to be a woman.
and I'm not, again, I don't invalidate experiences. It's
Okay.
like how you feel, how you experience things. I'm never going to invalidate that. But there is a very rigid view. Like you have to meet these certain points to be this feminine woman to men. And for me, and the other women can agree or disagree,
Mhm.
but for me, it normally is that rigidity and all of the things that come with it. The rigid masculinity, the rigid like gender roles.
Why is it rigid?
I don't
The standards that women have for men are significantly higher than the standards that men hold for women.
can never be anything else but what you all see it as, right? Like you're not allowing people to just be people. Like women are not these bullet point things. You cannot list what a feminine woman is because it looks different.
We live
And
in
it
a
should
society.
look different just like men in their masculinity can look different.
Yeah,
Bo, I
allow
have a
you to
question.
do-
Sorry, Darn. Bo, I have a question for you. And I hope that this question will illustrate the direction I'm going in.
Okay.
Who do you think has more prerequisites or standards in order for them to be satisfied and interested in order to date the opposite sex?
Great question.
Who got the
There you
higher?
go.
Who has the
Lock
the
in.
much longer list of expectations that the opposite sex has to meet in terms of requirements?
Okay, if we're talking about in society,
Damn,
then I guess it has to be women.
you
Okay.
guess.
So, of the few things, so hold on, just 1 second. So just to clarify, there's actually very few things that men are actually looking for and to satisfy. And I think our standards have had to go down every decade
Definitely.
in order for us to be able to still find a suitable partner.
Not mine.
So what I'm suggesting is rather than trying to demonize women with their lengthy list of prerequisites. So for instance, if you feel like you don't want men to be so rigid with their viewpoints, I'm not going to shame women that want a man that's taller than them. I'm never going to shame women that want a man that's not weaker than them.
Right.
I'm never going to shame women that don't want to be with men that they don't feel safe with and that he feel like that he can't protect them. So rather than being like, well, you just need to change that. No, that's what you can't go through 10,000 years of evolutionary biology and know that who you are and how you've been shaped to be. There's actually certain natural inclinations of what no one had to teach you that you may have felt safer with a man that you weren't looking down on.
Mm.
That's just a hardwired in you. So remember what I mentioned about that blank slate theory thing? A blank slate theorist will have issues with the opposite sex's stances of what they're attracted to that they feel they're not measuring up to.
The funniest part about this is there are a lot of women that are walking around in the dark because men are willing to have sex with them. And because men are willing to have sex with them, they think that that's the man that they can actually get, but they don't have any of the characteristics that men actually look for in long-term relationships. There are a lot of women that focus on what you need to do on the outside to draw in a man with their beauty, but they don't know what you have to do on the inside in order to retain that man. And just because you ain't got the characteristics for a long-term relationship, don't mean dudes won't sleep with you. Dudes will literally sleep with women they don't even like just because they want to scratch that itch. But all of this is only happening because women don't require marriage before sex anymore.
Women this and women that. Evolutionary biology is learning about, in order for you to not be a genetic dead end as a man, you have to adapt to what women want. You don't get to dictate what it is that women are attracted to or what they want. What they want is what they want, and they're not going to settle. So if we're going to hold women to that standard, then we have to hold men to that, especially men who have the choice and option as well. The man that you want has standards just like you do.
Yep.
And just like many of the key core things that you either like or don't like, or turn-ons and turn-offs, you get to arbitrarily decide which one of those you want to honor or set aside. So too does he. Now, for you, a guy may look at you and initially think a certain thing. Oh, she's going to be rough around the edges. She's doing all this hard manual labor. Well, what happens to the guy who has that image in his head, and then he talks to you and he gets the total opposite experience? Suddenly your job and field and craft of what you do for a living doesn't matter to him anymore, because experientially, that whatever's happening outside that home, when you walk through that door, he doesn't feel it.
He's right.
Guys don't care. Guys ain't, when women are like, if I went to school or I made all of this money, I didn't go to school to make 80,000, 100,000, 125,000 to date a guy that's making 40. We're never going to shame her into accepting a guy that's making $40,000. It's not going to happen. She put herself in a position that that's what it is that she desires. And either she's the type of woman that can garner and get that type of man, or she doesn't.
The problem is when you're making that much money as a woman and you want a man that makes equal to or more than you, now you're dealing with the men who all the women want, and they get to choose what they want now. So it's not about what you want anymore. It's more about what you are willing to do to give him what he wants. And oftentimes those women aren't willing to change their lifestyle or how they think or how they talk to men or how they are willing to disrespect a man. And so they can't retain those men that actually have the option to say no to certain women. And I never understood that, because these types of women should know more than anything that you got to sacrifice for things that you want. You went to college, you studied, you went $30,000 into debt, you wrote down a resume, you went to the interview just to get the job. But now that you want the man that you want, you think that you don't have to do anything for it. He's just supposed to bend to your will. And a lot of these types of ladies think that they can respect their boss more than they respect their husbands. If their boyfriends or husbands say, I don't want you to wear that, they're going to get a bunch of back talk. But if they boss say, I don't want you to wear that, I bet you they come into work dressed differently the next day. So yeah, if you want the man that you want as a woman, you got to be willing to compete for him. And now, because all of the women want that small minority of men, the competition is fierce. It's a knife fight out here.
Are you the type of guy that can get that out of women, regardless of what she does for a living? Every guy doesn't qualify for the type of woman that he wants. And guess what? Every single woman doesn't qualify for the type of man that she thinks she wants.
Right. Yeah.
We have to learn how to adjust to the sex we're saying we want.
The difference is men understand that it's something that we want. Women think that it's something that they deserve, so they don't have to work for it.
What we're doing as in dating, communication. This is a great, to me, I think this is a really cool analogy. Imagine going for a job interview. You get there, you sit down, you're late, you're in your pajamas, and you slide over your resume, and it's a whole bunch of irrelevant stuff that has nothing to do with the job position that you want. And as the person's trying to ask you questions, you're talking about how much you want to make and what your hours is going to be, and they're saying, well, this is what our salary is, and this is the prerequisites of what we're looking for in experience, and this is what we'd be willing to pay you, and this will be the schedule. And you say, yeah, I don't like any of this. I want way more money. You say in 5 days, I'll do 2 days. One of those days is going to be virtual. You just making up your own rules. What's the likelihood of you filling that job position? And you getting picked? Less than slim to none.
Yeah.
Each man, if there's different types of men, there's usually general attraction triggers of what most men want. And the men that are of demand, their standards are even higher. So I'll give you an example on my end. When I was younger, and I was chasing after and thirsty and trying to shoot my shot, and I'm sending flowers and doing all this stuff.
Mhm.
And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I said, man, this is a hell of a lot of effort. By the time I got to 30, things were a little bit different.
Yep, started to
And
change.
when I was on a dating app, I was a BLK Black. I had flew to Atlanta for 2 hour layover, and then I flew to Chicago and landed. When I flew to Atlanta, 2 hours, turned my phone on real quick, turned it back off, didn't check the app, got to Chicago. The 2 hours I was in Atlanta to the half hours I was in Chicago till I got in my cousin's car when she picked me up from the airport. It was 72 to 74 women that had matched with me, or initiated contact with me after 2 hours in 2 different cities. You don't get to dictate anything to me. The other 69 women, I can choose.
And that's what a lot of ladies don't understand. When they at their prom and they 21, 22, and all them dudes DMing them and nobody can tell them nothing because everybody wants them, men start to feel that at around the age of 30. So now you got a lot of women that are around that age that are trying to date those guys, but those guys are like, this is the first time in my life where women were just coming to me. And so there are a lot of women that are around 30 and they try to shame the men that are around 30 into just dating them. But the dudes are like, I'm going to get attitude. I'm going to get, statistically speaking, a woman that's obese. She might have kids. She might have debt. All that kind of stuff matters. And so the men who got a lot of options, because relationship is such a big investment for men, those men are just choosing to get the milk without buying the cow because women are willing to just give it up to them. I'm telling you right now, if you think you hot shit in any domain, time humbles everybody.
That's the dating market. So if you are if there's nothing else I'm going to say tonight that's going to be helpful, if we understand the opposite sex better, we'll move different. In the global dating market, we ain't worried about America, in the global dating market, in terms of desirability, it's white men at the top, it's black men number 2, it's Hispanic men number 3, and Asian men number 4. In terms of desirability, in terms of all the data and stats that they're collecting, in terms of marriages, in terms of sex, access to sex, and the dating app data. Black men are second. Asian men are last. Asian women don't want Asian men.
Yeah, that's a huge problem in the Asian community.
On the flip side, depending on the stat, depending on the data, number 1 is either Asian women or white women, depending on the study. And then number 3 is Hispanic women, and then last is black women.
You just crucified yourself.
It's not crucified, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I'm saying it in that way and breaking it down in that way is a lot of this animosity that we're having with each other, black men and black women in this country. Africans don't see us as a part of their tribe. Jamaicans don't see us as a part of their tribe. There are no other groups that do. So if globally you are the least desired, and even the other black people, even if the other black people come here, they will look at you different. And they'll still treat you a little bit different. And it takes you a while to kind of warm up, and they'll be honest and say, when I first came here, my parents said not to deal with the black Americans. I've heard that they have told me.
That's real life.
Who else are you going to listen to in terms of whatever it is that's causing you to be at the bottom of the totem pole of desirability than a black man looking you in your face and saying, this is what I need to feel loved?
And it's even further than that. If African people and Jamaican people are coming over here and their parents are telling them not to deal with African Americans, it's obvious that it's not the way you look, because we can look similar in certain examples, but it's more about our culture. The reason why Asian women are looked upon as one of the most attractive is because they maintain their beauty, they tend to keep themselves pretty thin, and they have the idea of femininity within their culture. Black women are gorgeous, but we have issues within our culture that makes it so that black women are less desirable. Worldwide, not by me, of course. I love black women, but I only associate myself around black women who have a respect for men, because I see a lot of examples of black women who think that they can openly disrespect men, and I wouldn't be able to operate in those circumstances. The world seen Kamala Harris bring on Megan Thee Stallion to turn around and shake her ass on national television. Sexy Red is out here selling gonorrhea lip gloss. And we understand that this is a minority representation in our community, but this is because we are in our community. If I was an Asian or a white person and I wasn't around black people, because generally people hang out around people that look like them in their own communities, from the outside looking in, I wouldn't want my kids to associate with that, and I wouldn't want to be associated with that either. So it has a lot to do with the image. I go to Africa for about a month out of the year, and I've been doing that every year for the past 5 years. When I talk to them, all of the ideas that they have of black people are things that they've seen in movies. And how are black men specifically portrayed in movies? Gangsters, gays, or slaves. Look at the statue they built in Madison Square Garden. It's an obese black woman with her hand on her hip looking like she giving attitude. What message do you think that sends the world? If people who are not like us, they look like us, and they sometimes even act like us, come over here and say that they don't want to date us, it's because of a cultural issue. And even looking at statistics of single motherhood and divorce rates, obesity statistics, we have to agree. It's not like it can't be undone, but this whole baby mama, hyper-independent culture has to go away. And the women in our community have to be more selective of the men they choose to sleep with. African-American culture now promotes hypersexuality, and that's not something that men generally look for in long-term commitments. And men have to be very selective because we are the ones who actually have to invest in these relationships, especially financially.
So all I'm saying is rather than trying to focus on men need to adapt to me, that's not the real world. If you want the job, if you want the position, you need to fill the prerequisites. If the prerequisites are softness, feminine, non-argumentative, more agreeable, either you want to be that or not. And if you were like, well, I don't want to do all of that stuff to get with a man, you're going to end up with the man that most women don't want and other men don't respect. The man that has respect has standards. And
Oh, hold on. Bonnie, are you fact checking him right now? Oh no, you tend to do that. Go ahead, Bronco.
So I'm not in the business of trying to transform and say I'm not getting what I want in the dating market, so the problem is all other women. No, the market's the market. I need to adjust to the women. So if you are a woman by default, you have value in terms of beauty. Ain't nobody on the panel ugly. So if you're a woman and you're single and you're 30 or up, the issue is you probably need to adjust to the caliber of man that you say that you want, if you even know where to find him. In the black community, I'm in a social club in Philly, working professionals, lawyers, doctors, you name it, right? The women who go to those facilities, to those spaces, have an unusual monopoly on a higher tier. These are dudes that do golf. These are dudes that own yachts, right? All the women who don't know about the social clubs, all the women that don't go to the cigar lounges, they have no idea that there's a whole nother bracket of pool of men that they're not even having access to. A lot of black women, because they didn't do what's the school? They didn't grow up in environments where they were put into these spaces to be put on game. In terms of when you went to school, why was the Asian women and the white women going for two reasons and you were going for one? You were going to get your degree. They were going to get the degree and to find their partner. So when you walked across the aisle with your diploma in hand, they had the diploma in the ring. It's about mindset, it's about approach, it's about intentionality, and it's about humility of if you are 30 or up as a woman and you are mildly attractive, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, usually the thing that you're doing wrong is your standards are just too high. Again, this was from the LaPeep Network. It's called Black Therapist Says Single Women 30 Plus Are Doing Something Wrong. I'll leave a link in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give it an HBO special. That's our brother. I was special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.